guys, that's your Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. Send us some love, some positive vibes. You know the drill, your way, especially if you need it out there today. Today, we're going to talk about some of my favorite champions inside the entire game of Raid Shadow Legends. I want you guys to let me know, how many of these champions do you have? If so, how many do you actually use? It would behoove you to use them because they're absolutely delete buttons. I'm not talking about a backspace. No, au contraire. I'm talking about a real delete, meaning you can't come back. That's right, we're ranking the top 20 block revive champions in Raid Shadow Legends in 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, I love so many of these champions, and honestly, there's like 10 more that could have been on the list, so let me know if I snub your favorite champion. I don't know, maybe like an Armiger shout out here. Doesn't really make the list, but this uncommon has a block revive on a 2-turn cooldown. Don't sleep on Armiger. Also, I wanted to give an honorable mention. I'm not including them on the video because technically they're not block revive champions, but we got the champions like Queen of Heart with the AoE buff removal, as well as the Death Brand, which essentially blocks revive. Gamaram, yeah, I think he's the only champion in the game, right, that can just go ahead and place a block revive on an already dead champion. And how come I can't see? My cursor's like literally right on his face. But man, this is a very unique one, right? You're already dead, and then he blocks your revive. That's a threat. At the same time, he can revive somebody on your team too. Revives a random ally, 30% HP, 30% turn meter, every time a block revive is placed on an enemy. Pretty cool. I'm ranking these champions, by the way, a little bit based on how good they are overall, but with a huge emphasis on how strong their block revive ability is. When I look for block revive champions, what I'm looking for is, you know, the damage. Can they ignore block damage? Can they ignore stone skin? Can they ignore something in addition on their block revive move? Also, is their block revive on an A1? Is it on an alternate form? If they're a mythical, how easy is it to control their block revive vis-a-vis a Fabian or a Crixie or a Yumeko, a cooldown reset champion, Alice? Those are some of the factors that we're looking at here. If it's a conditional block revive, how difficult is it to achieve that condition? Hey guys, but first, real quick, I have to give a massive shout to a brand new game who has been so kind to sponsor today's video, and that is Moto Immortal. This game just launched. Perfect time to get on the ground floor of a very unique blend of different genres, which really spoke to me. We've got card collection, we've got idle progression, we've got all the RPG elements that I love, as well as a strong emphasis on roguelike challenges in this game. Now, this new game has a lot going for it, right? The aesthetics are really up my alley. You guys already know me. I like dark. This has this like dark Eastern and Western kind of blend of these deities, right? All together. Kind of an elegant art style, but like a tinge of darkness to it for the 5th time. I personally absolutely dig it. I got my hands on this game, and I was surprised that I really jived with all the different kind of elements, including this really interesting kind of tarot AI-driven aspect where you can actually interact with the gods, and it has real-life ramifications on your actual gameplay. So we're not only collecting our teams here and all of our deities, but we're also, you know, putting them in strategic and tactical situations. So whatever you kind of like, it has something that will inevitably speak to you, which is why I really dig this game. All right, so Moto Immortal, I've got your attention. So what do you do now? Well, go ahead and use my link. Check out the game. Really freaking cool. I think you guys honestly are really gonna enjoy this one. But of course, I've got some bonuses, some perks for you guys. $50 worth, no big deal. Use my link or the QR code on the screen right now, and you get a special starter pack, which, well, I just mentioned. So what are you waiting for? Check out Moto Immortal right now, and thank you to Moto Immortal for sponsoring today's video. Let's kick it off with an oldie but a goodie. I still have a little soft spot in my heart for Foley. He's an original champion in the game. He's really one of the OG block revive champions. There's a couple of them on this list. As a matter of fact, the next champion is too, an original champion in Raid Shadow Legends. But Foley's pretty cool, man. He has the, whenever an enemy places a stun, freeze, sleep, or provoke on this champion, he instantly removes it, heals himself, and a turn meter boost by 50%. Honestly, I might actually do a Foley Spotlight video here soon, because this old school champion, I don't want to ruin the whole video, but in this stun, freeze, especially heavy meta, it's pretty insane. He goes in, takes a turn. You can build him slow with attack percentage on his boots and maybe just nuke somebody down and put them down and keep them down with the Sealed Fate ability. Not bad. It's not as hard hitting. It doesn't have any ignore ability. You can lock him out. So there are, some detractors. That's why he's number 20 on the list. But don't sleep on Foley, especially with that passive. Number 19, like I said, is another old school champion. It's actually Blood Gorged. Another factor that I meant to mention is their block revive move move, a double hitter? Can they get around UDKs and champions like that, aka UDK, right? So Blood Gorge is a single hitter, but I think it's one of, not the only, but one of the only ignore 100% defense block revive moves in the game. He has it on Decapitate. He comes in at number 19. The rest of his kit's kind of meh, but I mean, he can nuke with that A3 for sure. 18. This is a weird one because this dude, Valkonen, actually has one of the best block revives in the game. Malice Unleashed is absolutely sick. It's insane. You steal all their buffs that can't be resisted before you attack. He can either do tons of bonus damage or ignore 50% defense. You ignore block damage, unkillable, shield, ally protect, and block revive. Everything except for Stone Skin. So if it's that good, Ash, why is he number 18? Because in order to activate the Malice Unleash, you can see no cooldown here. It's a secret skill. And what do you got to do to unlock the secret skill? You gotta kill somebody on your team, okay? Now, the good news is when you kill them, it doesn't put a block revive on your own champion, thank God. But unless you have like a crazy Sun Wukong combo, something like that, you can have a lot of fun with Valkonen. But practically speaking, he's really not a big part of the meta at all. He's not a part of the meta at all because killing a champion is a pretty big sacrifice to be had here. So while you can have some fun and while the ability itself is insanely good, he's not really, a part of the meta. Number 17 on the list, I'm gonna get freaking fried in the comments for this one. But hear me out, please. Yeah, that's right. You're seeing the correct thing. I want to be clear here. Polera is not good and she needs a buff, especially considering how hard she is to get. But I will say, as a Polera owner, her Pyro Maxima is a really intriguing ability. Hear me out. Attacks all enemies, single target individually. That means, Veils and Perfect Veils can't mitigate that damage. Blast proof masteries that mitigate AoE damage won't be effective on this. Ignore shield, block damage, and unkillable buffs. She instantly activates burns, and then she places a block revive if the target is under a burn or a freeze. And she has 2 damage sources on this ability, defense and attack as well. So why do I like this ability? Obviously, ignore block damage is fantastic. It does decent damage as well. I think it's the best move in her whole kit, which is pretty underwhelming outside of this ability in my opinion. But the cool thing is, it is on her base form. I'd rather it be on her alternate form so it couldn't be locked out. But the cool thing is, there's a lot of burners that are meta right now, and there's a lot of freeze champions that are meta right now. So I thought I'd give her a nod here at number 17 on the list, because especially with block damage, ignore on there, I think it's a nice ability to be aware of for if and when you finally get Polera on your account. Hopefully by then, they give her a nice big buff too. All right, coming in at number 16 is a champion that I don't have, but I wanted to include him on the list, and it's Legate Teox, or as I commonly mispronounce his name, Legate. He has a conditional block revive, okay? It requires 2 faction allies, so 3 lizard men to be on the team. It's a hard-hitting attack. He's bringing his own increased attack and increased crit damage, an extra hit on enemies under any debuffs. So we love all that. We love the multipliers. Honestly, it will ignore strengthen, ally protect, shield, and block revive, and the faction is so stacked now, unlike it was maybe a year ago, or maybe especially like 2 years ago. But we have champions like Pantheon, like Predator, like Sulfurion, who are all meta, like Donnie, who are all meta champions, let alone Lazarius as well. And pretty soon Anaxia. I don't have high hopes, but I'm just trying to say that there's a lot better options than there used to be in this faction. So 3 lizard men on a team isn't that tricky. I don't know. It's a pretty good move. Actually, the next 2 choices might surprise some viewers out there. But number 15 on the list is actually going to be a champion by the name of Constantine the Dayborn. Vlad's companion champion. Now, if Vlad's on the same team, all of his moves block revive, which is really cool. If Vlad's not on the same team, all of his moves block revive on champions from the Undead Horde, Demon Spawner Knights, Revenant factions, right? That's actually really, really cool because, hey, as fate would have it, Undead Horde, Demon Spawn, and Knights Revenant are three of the, top 5 factions in the entire game, arguably. They're super meta, they're chock full of meta champions, and I have a feeling that people going against Constantine in the arena, you could probably pull a sneaky move, and they don't realize or remember which factions he has a block revive on. The cool thing is he steals all buffs from the target, which is really useful in a block damage, heavy meta, an unkillable heavy meta, provided it's not protected. So this can get away and at least not ignore something, but steal an essential damage mitigating or blocking buff before you attack. He also has a hard AoE on the Rune Shatter on the A2 ability. So I stand by my Constantine the Dayborn love here. Number 15. I'm just realizing my list has 2 number 15s, so I guess we've got a tie, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting 21 champions for the price of 20. We actually have another shocker, I'm sure. Xavier, hear me out. Another old school champion here. But listen, what is this meta chock full of again? Actually, poison, right? I never thought I'd see the day. But yeah, we've got Nels, we've got Calvalaxes, we've got other poisoners out there inside the meta for the first time in PvP ever, really, in Raid Shadow Legends. That brings in Deadly Catalyst. It's an AoE that instantly activates all poison debuffs on all enemies, and enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. So it's not just the damage, but it's the skill within itself, meaning if you die from poison damage off of the Deadly Catalyst, you're going to be put down. You're going to get the old proverbial delete button smack. There it is, Deadly Catalyst. Coming in at number 14 on the list is going to be Carnage. Carnage is so freaking good. And he's one of the first champions on the list that has quite a big qualifier to his block revive. But I just love Carnage. I think this champion is absolutely incredible. To get the block active skills, all that debuff spread, all the counter attacks, the block passive skills, the stealing of buffs, the stealing of turn meter. I mean, he is just insanely good and very unique in the game. I feel like players sometimes, I've gone against a few players in live arena, that they could have smoked me, but they stay in base form. And I agree, staying in base form is usually the right move on Carnage. But you can switch forms and just put me down with Infernal Stars, which actually does a lot of damage. I mean, my man has a 1960 base attack, right? Highest in the game. He can go in there and place a block revive as long as the target's under 3 or more different debuffs, okay? So, I mean, it's pretty nasty. It's a pretty nasty move. So that's why I put him in at number 14 on the list. 13 on the list. This might be a little high now that I look at it again, but it's going to be a Nithwi Blood Twin. A Nithwi Blood Twin comes in at number 13, and the reason being is because a Nithwi is very unique in this game. Actually, Constantine is probably the closest champion to him, but a Nithwi just has the Final Doom move, where basically enemies killed by this champion, period, can't be revived. Now, the bummer is he has no ignore defense, he has no ignore block damage, unkillable, anything, stone skin, anything like that. But he does have a triple hitter in his kit. He does have an AoE in his kit. They did go in there and buff the multipliers to all of his moves, at least the A2 and the A3, which is pretty nice. However, I think they should have went further with that buff. Moreover, this champion, and Constantine, I believe Constantine, but 100% in Nithwi, Soul Reap. It's incredibly good on him, the blessing, right? Because Soul Reap will actually also block revive. That's not the case for any other block revive move in the game. It'd be awesome if I could speak, you know? Enemies killed by this champion, so that includes the Reaper, right? Good to know. An Nithwi Blood Twin is not meta, and he's not particularly good, but he is a massive threat on the battlefield that you have to take seriously, and I put him in at number 13. At number 12, we have another champion that received a buff a year or so ago, and that's Queen Eva. Queen Eva, I don't know. Either way, she's got this move, Ancient Curse. It's a 2-time hitter. Ignore 50% of the target's defense, extra 15% chance of landing a critical hit, and enemies killed by the skill cannot be revived. A couple things I like about Queen Eva. Number one is this can be a 100% ignore defense move because you could have Helm Smasher and a lethal or savage set on her. 100% ignore defense, double hitter, block revive that absolutely smacks. There it is. The rest of her kit, I think, leaves a lot to be desired outside of campaign farming with the energy drain move. But man, the Ancient Curse, kind of like a Nithwi, like a lot of these champions, you gotta take it seriously because it can, well, delete you. 11 on the list is going to be Ieyasu. A Void Affinity champion who, boy, oh boy. Now, he might have been like number, I don't know, 5 on the list if his block revive was on his ignore stone skin ability. Unfortunately, it's not. He has a final vengeance, 2-time hitter, ignore 50% of the target's defense, stone skin, shield, and strengthen. And this bad boy smacks. Unfortunately, his violent purification is on his A2 ability, and this is the block revive. It's a 2-time hitter, though. Before each hit, he's destroying the target's max HP, and then the damage inflicted by the skill increases by 10% for each buff and debuff on the target up to 100%, which is nice in a very, very buff-heavy meta. And, of course, you get the block revive as the cherry on top. Number 10. I can't believe it, ladies and gentlemen. I have an epic in the top 10, and I'm sure you guys can guess who it is. With all apologies to Luria, who could have been on the list, maybe top 25, I would say. It's going to be Phenax. Why Phenax? Especially compared to Constantine and Carnage and Anithwi and all these champions, because it's just on his A1. It's on his A1, and Phenax has one of the hardest hitting A1s out there in the game if you can get that second hit especially. I think it's a 4.1 multiplier on this A1, which is just nasty. This makes him, or allows you, first of all, you can lock him out and it doesn't matter. You have an ally attacker that's faster than him, like a Queen of Hearts or whoever, right? Oscarin or whoever you're rocking, Fat Man it could be. You can just delete anybody who doesn't have stone skin on them at the beginning of the battle, right? So very, very, very strong move. Put down is just really an absolute threat, and again, it can work with ally attack. You can build him super slow and move him at the speed of Mikage, or you can just put the retaliation gear on him, retribution and deterrence, and he's a challenge out there. So number 9 is going to be good old the final boss of Raid Shadow Legends. That's right, it's Mortu Macabre. Mortu Macabre, man, he's an old school champion in the game. I like him because he has speed in all battles by 24 as well, which is nice. You can just build him super slow, even though he does have the speed in all battles aura. You can build him super slow, 2-turn stone skin. You don't need, I talked about Blood Gorge earlier. Valkyrin has a what, 50%? Was it 100? Yeah, Valkyrin has 50%. Blood Gorge is 100% ignore defense on his block revive. So does Mortu Macabre. It's a secret skill, but it's not a secret skill that Valkyrin needs to kill somebody. All you got to do is let the big fella sit there. You don't want to build Mortu Macabre in lethal or in savage gear. Of course, you can to get a little bit extra damage from his A1 and his A2, but really, you can just afford to build him super slow, kind of like UDK style, with a ton of crit rate, crit damage. Maybe you build him with a 1-turn stone skin, with a crit damage set on him as well. Try to get more bang for your buck, but the best build, I think, is just a 6-piece stone skin, and just let him sit there, activate Peril. He'll get turn meter fill anyway, and then boom, Peril. 2-time hitter, ignore block damage in this meta, fantastic, and shield, and a block revive, as well as, they should just add it in for new players, 100%. This is how they used to write skills way back in the day, and they didn't go up in there and update to make them more clear to players. So 100% ignore defense, shield, and block damage. Yeah, that's a delete button. Coming in at number 9, maybe I'm biased here. You guys know how much I love this champion. To be fair, Rotos the Lost Groom was very difficult to grade here compared to the rest, because he used to be just the best block revive champion in the game before he got nerfed. It didn't require all this massive power up. So basically, when he gets to a max, champion's max HP gets capped out, then he can start block reviving on his A3 ability. Not before that moment though. Imagine back in the day when he just blocked revive. That's sick, it's insane. But still, Rotos is such a fearsome presence, no pun intended, on the battlefield that this dude, I mean, he's smoked me so many times, man. So many times I thought the battle was over and Rotos just boom, 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 extra turn, I'm smoked. And then you get him powered up with that A2 and he's going to block your revive as well. We've all been there. Hopefully both sides if you have Rotos. At number 7 on the list, another impossible to rank champion, frankly, is going to be a Volcanos. I don't know, maybe the second most meta champion that we're going to talk about on this list. Certainly in the top 3, I would say. But the thing about Volcanos is he's very tricky to rank here because you do need a full team in Arena of faction allies to activate, to unlock the block revive. So it's not as easy as just one turn. Now, most people run Volcanos with at least just one more demon spawn. It could be a Duchess, it could be a Carnage, it could be, a Wither, whoever you have, Preva on your account, Cometus. So, because one faction ally, debuffs placed by this skill cannot be resisted or blocked by block debuffs. But if you can run a full demon spawn team, Place a block revive on enemies killed while under HP burn debuffs. This works even if this champion is dead. Ooh, that is so freaking nasty. So he's placing the burns, he's activating the burns, and then he's putting you down and stay down if you have the 3 faction allies. He's one of the strongest champions on the list, but I figured because you need 3 and because you need a burn on them, I felt like this was 7 is a good spot for him. At number 6, it's gonna be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Raffi! Why is Raffi this high on the list at number 6? It's like I said before with Fenax. He's got it on his A1 ability. He's got the block revive on his A1. Especially if you have Turtles on the same team, he's going to be joining in on the attacks with a freaking block revive on his A1. It hits pretty hard. He's got turn meter fill on there too. That's nice to have. But a 2-time hitter, that's key as well. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. It's having it on the A1, meaning again, Crixia comes in, Fabian comes in. You're not gonna lock. Sure, you can lock him out, but you're not gonna block his arguably his best move on the A1 and Sewer Skewer. Totally gnarly and tubular, dude. Coming in at number 5 on the list, it's gonna be real. Probably one of the worst mythical champions in the game. Mezimel Luperfang. So if she's the worst, Ash, why do you have her at number 5 on the list? Because she has something really unique and really strong. You can build her with only 70% crit rate if you want to. She brings a 30% crit rate. She brings her own increased attack. She brings her own increased damage. And then she has an extra turn on the same ability. You can lock her out. That's the best way to deal with her. But man, this Scarlet Crescent, when we talk about block revive, it ignores 15% of target's defense, stone skin, strengthen, ally protection, shield. The only thing it doesn't ignore is block damage. So you can stop her with a Naime as well. But the stone skin, especially hitting this hard, especially also in a very force affinity meta right now, you can go in there and delete an Embrys or a Harima or whoever you're going against, that is, or Star Sage Galathier, I guess you'll have his passive, but with that double hitter, it's really, really tough. She is an absolute threat on the battlefield, and the interesting thing about Mezimel, I said she doesn't ignore block damage with her block revive, but she does have that on her alternate form, so if you are going in against a block damage situation, well, she does have an AoE that actually hits really hard, that ignores unkillable and block damage. So she does have a bit of versatility. I think for a mythical champion, she's fairly one-dimensional. She's a block revive, ignore stone skin, and an AoE. But those two things that she does very, very well. I would say one-dimensional is a knock on her, but not the lack of power that she brings to the table, especially after her buff. Number 4 on the list. Hold up, time out, everybody. It's Ash from the future, or at least Ash from the present day, because I recorded this video a few days ago. You can probably tell by the snow in the Bastion. There's actually a lot of snow IRL right now, where I am at least. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. But I had to add a little addendum to catch this video up to the actual present moment, and I have to add my man Edward Kenway to the list right about now, because Edward, man, he has a pretty damn nasty block revive ability that absolutely deserves to be on this list. He's got a perfect veil on himself, obviously before attacking, as well as any other assassin on the team for 2 turns, 3-turn cooldown on between the eyes, ignore shield, stone skin, and block damage, everything that is meta, and a block revive, and it smacks. And in case you missed my shard opening video, I did not get this dude. So there we go. That's something to be happy about today. Honestly, Edward Kenway looks to be one of the best assassins in the game for my money. All kinds of cool kind of ensnare synergy with the veil on the second passive on Keelhaul, excuse me. And then he has the first hit, stealing all buffs from all enemies, decreasing turn meter by 20%. Can't be resisted if he's under a veil or perfect veil. Puts him to sleep. Will ignore block debuffs as well. Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, Edward Kenway. It's a sad, sad day, or at least a sad, sad video when your boy went for him and surprise, surprise, didn't even get close. Anyway, back to the normally scheduled video, guys. Again, hope you're all doing well. Enjoy the rest of the vid. Now we're getting into big, big, big beast mode territory here. Predator. So Predator, it's official. Predator is meta. He's meta in a big, big way. I'm going against a ton of Predators in the arena. Me personally, I haven't been using him a lot, only because I only have so much good freaking HP gear on my account, right? And I already have it on a bunch of other champions that I'm using, namely Embrys. This Smart Disc It absolutely smacks. At the start of the round, he's placing a perfect veil on himself. He has evasion. He's really insane. He's super tanky. With the evade, he's tough to get rid of. But this, the combo stick throw, attacks one enemy. Before attacking, places the Hunter's Gaze debuff for 1 turn. It can't be resisted if he's under Veil or Perfect Veil. Beautiful opening move. If it kills an enemy, blocks Revive on them, and a Hunter's Gaze debuff on a random alive enemy for 1 turn. Hunter's Gaze debuff cannot be resisted under Veil or Perfect Veil. If the attack does not kill an enemy, Perfect Veil on this champion for 2 turns fills his turn meter by 50%. Are you kidding me? The crazy thing about this move is it absolutely smacks as well. It's a scary, scary day when you go against Predators, just given how tanky he is and how under that Veil or Perfect Veil, he's tough to get rid of. You need to lock this guy out, otherwise you might be dead forever. Forever. Like Sandlot style, squints, right? Number 3 on the list, Joan of Arc. Joan the Luminant. Oh, she's nasty. Have you seen this new Mythicals kits, guys, at the time of this recording at least? She really looks great. I love that weapon there. I don't even know what those are called. What's the double-edged sword called? You guys always let me know, you weapon aficionados, in the comments there. She's a great reviver and support champion on her base form. We're here to talk about her alternate form. Her alternate form has one of the nastiest block revives this game has ever seen. And honestly, I personally think this could be the coolest champion design in the game. On her alternate form. It does remind me a little bit of a Iovar from Watcher of Realms. Are you guys familiar? What do you guys think? Is it a little bit of a ripoff, maybe? A little bit? Or just inspiration? I don't know. Either way, I freaking love it, so I don't care. This move is absolutely devastating. It's on her alternate form, so you cannot lock her out. You gotta hope to land a block active skills on her base form. She ignores shield. She ignores block damage. She ignores unkillable. She ignores 35% target's defense against targets whose resistance is lower than this champion's. And everything about her screams add a bunch of resistance to my kit. Even her damage is based off freaking resistance with 2 sources and attack as well. The crazy thing about this move is, guys, okay, if the target's killed with lower resistance than this champion, plays a block revive. If the target isn't killed, she gets an extra turn. Are you kidding me? But the craziest thing is, as if all this wasn't enough, on a triple hitter, as if all this wasn't enough, they also, the multipliers are insane. It's a godlike damage rating, even without the, everything else that she brings to the table, the ignore block damage and the block revive. This is very, very nasty here. Honestly, I'm reading this again, even though I read it before the video too, and I'm almost thinking she should be number 2. Let's just call it a tie at number 2. Maybe it's how bad I want Nice on my account has me handicapping him a little bit high here, actually. If that makes any sense, which it doesn't. I mean, this has killed me so many times. So I'm putting it tied for number 2 with Joan. Let's do that. Attack one enemy, double damage to bosses. At least I don't have to worry about that. Destroy max HP, decrease the target's attack, defense, speed, resistance, and accuracy when the skill is used against them for the first time. That's really annoying. Also increase this champion's max HP, attack, defense, speed, resistance by 10% each time this champion decreases enemy stats by this skills, which only furthers to make his alternate form more powerful, more broken, and more freaking annoying. Finally, place a block revive on the target. Also, 2 sources of damage, HP and attack. Listen, everything about Nice is busted and broken. His AoE hits hard. This move is a delete button. For me, though, Nice, what makes him so disgustingly powerful and magical is all on his alternate form. How tough he is to deal with the A3, the A2, and the reviving everybody. There's been so many times where I'm sure you've been in the same boat where you thought you were going to win a match, and it was just Nice. But you're just like, yeah, it's a 50-50 coin flip, and you lose sometimes, So yeah, but anyway, Thief's Omen is just a bonkers ability, not only for the damage and the block revive, but how you sap away the stats of the opponent and add him to this already beast mode tanky champion. And of course, number 1, to the surprise of probably nobody, is Embrys the Anomaly. Embrys, man. I mean, listen, what can I say about Embrys that hasn't been said? I think he's defined the meta right now. I think he's an absolute just monster of a champion. I think he is you know, arguably the best champion out there right now. And it's crazy because at least unlike Nice and Joan and Mez and all the other mythicals that we talked about recently, at least he's accessible, right? Which is the beautiful thing about him. It's this Unmaker's Blade, right? Honestly, this has probably, just like me, it's probably killed you guys so many freaking times because the annoying thing is, and, you know, I've said it a few times on the video, but I'll say it again, is that once he switches forms, it's almost like a game over. Not quite game over, but your job is going to be way more challenging because he comes back to life after he's dead. He gets the extra hit if there's a necrosis stack on the board. You can open with Atomize, but if there's anybody that's either really high, or let's just put it this way, if there's anybody that's low on health, you just go in there and you put them down, they stay down. This ability smacks 2 sources of damage, but you really don't want the accuracy on him. You want to build him with very low accuracy because of the Atomize. But it hits hard enough anyway. It's absolutely insane. It's deadly. It's so scary, you know? But the crazy thing is, too, is that how it synergizes with his A3, right? So if Embrys is low on health, there's nothing scarier in this game than an Embrys the Anomaly who's low on health, isn't it? Am I right? Because you know he's just going to go in there and swap health with somebody on your team who's high, and then all of a sudden that champion he swapped with is going to be low health. He's going to get an additional 10% ignore defense, and then you're going to be dead and stay dead. Woo! So yeah, Emperor's the Anomaly is the #1 delete button in Raid Shadow Legends. What do you guys think of my list? Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Who did I snub other than Armiger? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know how many, if any of these champions you have and you use. Who is your personal favorite on the list? Thanks for watching, and as always, take care, guys.